Welcome, family. Happy New Year, Ma. What's going on, you guys? Welcome, you guys. A brand new week, brand new year here at the watch party. I mean, if you're new to this, because it's a new year and it's a new you, I'm JR. I'm right there. It's the watch list. Also, the watch party as we do this stream live every day at noon. You guys are here because you already know that. So, what am I telling you all that for? Hope you guys had a great holiday, despite, all the hiccups that could probably come with that holiday, or many people who maybe didn't have that much time off themselves. I had to take those Fridays, both after Christmas and New Year's Day off as well. There's always just a little bit more to get out your system, a little bit more chilling to do, a little less thinking about the disaster that's going on in our country. Hey, everybody, how you doing? Good to see you. It's brand new here. I just want to start before we get to all there's too much things happening. I'm on the damage report after this. I probably should have started 15 minutes ago, but I just want to collect everything and get it straight in my head first, and also all the things that we're going through. This is going to be a Venezuela day, so buckle up. But there's one other thing I do want to talk about, which I hope we squeeze in as well. But as we see all the folks come in, good to see you guys. The usuals, Dexter Wong is here, of course. Ma is here. Henry PhD is here. Squirrel Dragon 59 is here. All of the regulars are in the house, and many more, I'm sure, as you guys file in. Glad to see you. We're gonna you're gonna be disappointed in me, is what I'm gonna say. It's a Monday, but I missed 2 Fridays, bro. I missed 2 Fridays. You think come on, man. And I gotta go to the Old Faithful for my drink for today. It's the new year. I told you guys this is my resolution to stop drinking these things because I keep getting told that they're killing me. I don't know. Maybe I think I will, but I need new suggestions for every Friday. So we got a few days until this Friday shows up before we get a different drink. But for Monday, as we dive into the madness that I've been avoiding, mentally avoiding, and physically and emotionally avoiding for the past week, we got things happening. So I need a little boost. Sorry, Allie Patald. I had to do it. I had to do it. Anyways, we got lots happening. I just want to start with a little bit of a starter for you guys. I do this sometimes on Mondays because there's so many things I end up wanting to talk about. Or sometimes it's just like a moment or a couple of videos or a couple things here and there. Before it was Marco Rubio allegedly, potentially, suspiciously, as many people suspected, doped up, high up on some cocaine. It was just a moment. Here's another moment that I think as we go into this new year, we need to acknowledge what it is that we're facing, how it's not just from our dictator here in the United States and his whole cabal of people, but how it's foreign folks who control us and what it is that they want for the United States of America. Here's Israeli cybersecurity billionaire who's talking on CNBC because for some reason he gets these platforms.
I know it's difficult to hear, but it's time to limit the First Amendment in order to protect it, and quickly before it's too late.
What do you mean?
I mean that we need to control the platforms, all the social platforms. We need to stack rank the authenticity of every person that expresses themselves online and take control over what they are saying based on that ranking.
The government.
The government should
control the social media.
Yeah, I know it's difficult.
These authoritarians have the guts to go on TV and talk about how we need to limit the First Amendment now. I mean, from all these people who are talking so much, we have to limit social media information the way people are talking because, people might have information about things that we don't want them to have that information about. People might be able to organize. People might be able to continue to spread information that flies in the face of all of our lies and propaganda. So this guy is all on board and openly talking about it, even when asked by, I guess, a suspicious anchor. And it's like, wait, what the fuck are you talking about? Yes, we need to control all the social platforms and take control of what they are saying. Take control of what they're saying. A few months ago, I pointed out that as this authoritarian regime rolls on, all those Second Amendment folks might want to start realizing exactly what is it that they were always worried about happening would come in the form of an authoritarian like Donald Trump, who wants to limit your speech, limit your pushback on his authoritarianism and his fascism, who wants to limit your rights, which he's done countless times, wants to deport anybody that goes up against him. And, and anytime anybody wants to start fighting the way that everybody in this country always said that's what we were built on, badass patriots, that they're going to take away your right to talk about it. And then once you stop talking and want to fight, they're going to take away those guns as well. Or they'll claim that that's what they're doing. Um, I just want to show you guys what it is we're dealing with and why I was in avoidance mode for like a week. Let's go to the main story, though. You guys know what's coming. I know what's coming because I put this whole damn thing together. But let's start with the drunk ass at the Department of Defense, and it's of course no defense at all.
Justice, all on full display in the middle of the night. Nicolas Maduro had his chance, just like Iran had their chance, until they didn't and until he didn't. He effed around and he found out. Justice, all on full display in the middle.
There's the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, talking about he effed around and found out, because apparently Pete Hegseth is still living, I guess, in his 21-year-old self, who thinks it's badass to talk about how F around and found out as some kind of a policy as the United States of America's military goes and does anything that Donald Trump and he wants to do. Then that thing that they're doing now is, attacking other countries with the thought process of we're bringing whatever it is we want to them. We're coming up with new BS lies every time we go into these type of operations, and they come out and talk about it like it's glorious. I just like to flash back every once in a while to show people what it is we saw. This is only a few months ago. It's not like it was, hidden or anything about what is it they were up to. But as we go into this positioning of killing folks and saying that we're bringing liberation, these were the signs that we already saw happening.
We're solving life and death problems for our warfighters. We're not building for peacetime. We are pivoting the Pentagon and our industrial base to a wartime footing. Building for victory should our adversaries FAFO.
He really likes that term, FAFO. And then it sounds so cool if I go ahead and trail off at the back end of it and say FO. This guy's a loser. But you know what? He's speaking for a guy who's falling apart, as we know, physically, and losing his marbles even further. But even in his normal sane state of mind, he was always a madman, con artist, fascist, authoritarian type, and he's been showing us that consistently. So on this same lane of them going after and bragging now about these attacks, these illegal attacks where they completely circumvented Congress again, this is the way he's bragging about it.
All of these actions were in gross violation of the core principles of American foreign policy, dating back more than 2 centuries, and not anymore. All the way back, it dated to the Monroe Doctrines, and the Monroe Doctrine is a big deal, but we've superseded it by a lot, by a real lot. They now call it the Monroe Document. I don't know. It's Monroe Doctrine. We sort of forgot about it. It was very important, but we forgot about it. We don't forget about it anymore. Under our new national security strategy, American dominance in the Western Hemisphere will never be questioned again. Won't happen.
Listen to the words they're saying. If anybody who opposes them had said this during the campaign, which they did at the beginning of this presidency, which they said during this whole past year of his presidency, which they said, they'd say that they'd have Trump derangement syndrome for saying that Donald Trump wants to take over an entire region and hemisphere, and say that it's the Monroe Doctrine and he can do whatever the hell he wants. It's like they would push back and say, why would he talk about Donald Trump being a king or something? This guy's a peacetime president. This guy ended 1922 wars across the world, and he hasn't attacked anyone, despite reality looking at us in the face. And also, when they talk about this Monroe Doctrine that we're bringing back to control the entire hemisphere because we're an authoritarian imperialistic country, because that's what it's always been, he's bringing that back up, but it's this new name of the Monroe Doctrine. I just wanted to make sure we all still understood where we're headed here, because I'm gonna go back and forth between the lethality guy and also that tired guy standing behind him, as you can see here with the droopy face.
The president said our adversaries remain on notice. America can project our will anywhere, anytime. The coordination, the stealth, the lethality, the precision, the very long arm of American justice, all on full display in the middle of the night. The president said,
America can project our will anywhere, anytime. Does that sound like democracy to you? Does that sound like you're going across the world and you're fixing things that we always talked about, and as we break more things and say it's in our interests, and our interests end up being taking people's resources, their money, their freedoms, and installing someone to help us to continue to do that? I'm gonna get to all of that, bro. Again, but in case we forget, as you know, lethality guy keeps talking about he can do anything we want, anytime that we want, anywhere we want. He hinted at that too, that same speech a few months ago in front of that red curtain that he was standing in front of.
Our warfighters require the depth of capabilities to deter any aggression and, if necessary, decisively defeat any enemy that dares to challenge America. We're talking here about transformation, not toothless reform, and we're seeking it fast. Now, some will say that any effort to reform the Pentagon bureaucracy is punishment for real or perceived slights. We think that's nonsense. I'm not here to punish. We're here to liberate. I'm not here to reform, but to transform and empower. We mean to save the bureaucracy from itself. Because the chairman and I talk about this all the time. This is a 1939 moment, or hopefully a 1981 moment. A moment of mounting urgency. Enemies gather, threats grow, you feel it, I feel it. If we are going to prevent and avoid war, which is what we all want, we must prepare now.
It's all the same old usual hits. And again, and if we want to, I guess, have the conversation where we reconvene about whether or not the folks who were talking about these fascists as they came into office, these authoritarians with all their propaganda, and people fought back against it, many folks on the left as well, they use a lot of the same terms, like they're saving the country, they're saving the next country. You want to liberate someone. Every time they liberate people and save someone else, and then talk about their 1939 moment. I mean, it's not like they didn't tell us what their plans were. It's not like they didn't tell us this is exactly what they wanted to do, and that they're white supremacists who have this mindset that we can go and control this entire region because we're better than everyone else. That's the basis behind their stupidity, their ignorance, and also their extreme violence, because it's never proven out based off of intelligence or any kinds of thought processes or plans. It's all based out on their violence. And Donald Trump has full control, as he believes, over this military to do anything that he wants. And so, little weak guys like him and Pete Hegseth stand behind the military and say, we're tough guys. And, and even post things like this. This is from the Trump war room, their specific account about all the things that they're doing. And they're not hiding their braggadocio behind this whole thing, as he has a bat in his hand talking about the Monroe Doctrine. Someone put together this stupid ass cartoon and drew him standing over North America and South America as some kind of dominant a position where he looks like he's peeing and shitting on both countries at the same time, similar to the way he showed in that AI video during the No Kings protest. But they just get a kick out of all this. They don't expect anyone to do anything. And if and when someone or groups of people do something, that they want to go back to talk about how they're the victims again. They're always the victims here. But they come forward and say they need to get ahead of any of those aggressions, any of those responses, and attack people instead. It's not ironic. It's just straightforward. This whole Monroe to Monroe Doctrine, where they think they can control this entire hemisphere, the way that they basically told Europe, this is our side. We get to have imperialistic views over here, and that's your side. You have your imperialistic approaches and ways to try and dominate other folks there. Just stay out of our way so we can continue to do it here. It's just reignited. And Donald Trump, of course, usually has to put his name on the worst things that they all, decide to try and do. So, as we know, I'm always waiting for it. When are the questions going to come to these guys, since they keep having press conferences to talk about how dominant they are and how they're destroying everything else in the world in the name of the United States with our money? Finally, someone asked him, how does this make any sense that this has anything to do with, America?
Behind you, please.
Mr. President, why is running a country in South America America first?
Well, I think it is because we want to surround ourselves with good neighbors. We want to surround ourselves with stability. We want to surround ourselves with energy. We have tremendous energy in that country. It's very important that we protect it. We need that for ourselves. We need that for the world. And we want to make sure we can protect it. Behind you, please.
Mr. President, why?
I mean, at least he's being honest. We want to surround ourselves with good countries, so therefore we'll just take over all of them. That's not surrounding yourself with another sovereign country. That's surrounding yourself with, authoritarianism and attacking other countries and taking them over and installing puppets to then run the things the way that you want, so that you can steal more resources. He brought it up. The resources being, that oil that they stole from us, the stuff that's pumped out of their land and their resources is ours, because we need that money, because we can't do shit on our own. Remember, these are white supremacists. Like I said, they don't do anything but attack people and then claim that they've done all this work that they've stolen from other people. That's the basis for this guy's entire existence. So it's the question that people, and honestly, it's actually the statement that people have pointed out many times. This guy keeps talking about, remember, the problem has shifted from these narco terrorists and on these small boats in the middle of the Caribbean that they kept bombing, which, by the way, we still haven't seen that second double tap video, at least from what I've heard. Then they killed more folks and war crimes all occurred. The next step is always a bigger one where we'll be distracted further, not from nonsense, because this is not nonsense, but it definitely doesn't have us talking about Pete Hegseth hiding that second strike that has morphed somehow into them talking about oil and what they stole from us. How is it that keeps happening and we're just going to continue to ignore these hiccups in their logic? Anyways, someone asked him about, his bullshit reasoning for going after narco terrorists.
You did, yeah.
You said that Maduro is responsible for drug trafficking. You recently pardoned the former president of Honduras, who was convicted on many drug trafficking. Can you explain how these two situations are
Well,
different? And would you ever pardon Maduro?
I endorsed, as you know, the winning president, the man who won in Honduras. I endorsed the man who won in Chile. I endorsed the man who won in Argentina. And we are doing very well with that whole group. What the man that I pardoned was, if you could equate it to us, he was treated like the Biden administration treated a man named Trump. That didn't work out too well for them. This was a man who was persecuted very unfairly. He was the head of the country. He was persecuted very unfairly. And there are a number of them. And we felt that it was a very unfair situation that happened to him. He's also a party member of the man who won. So obviously the people liked what I did. And one of the reasons that was done is because of the fact that the party in power felt very strongly that that man was treated very badly. I studied it very quickly, and then I studied it in great detail. I went to a lot of the people standing behind me, and they felt that that man was persecuted and treated very badly. That's why I gave him a pardon.
What does that have to do with you claiming that you're fighting narco terrorism when you've switched over and started talking about how you're coming back for our oil? I'm sorry, the oil companies coming in and doing whatever the hell they want, because these are colonizers. These are imperialists. These guys want to come in and take things from folks and claim that it's theirs. That, that's how colonizers work. And then they get all, hoity-toity about their positionings and how much better they are than everyone else, and then try and hide the evidence and the history that we all know and have seen of what is it they do. So we're in the middle of another one of those right now. So the brag sessions continued. He had multiple press conferences, talked again, was on Air Force One, bragging about it some more. I'm going to get to all of that. But before we shift over to the next phases of this, if you guys just showed up, it's war day here on the Watch Party. Not too much partying going on, just a lot of information that's continuing to flow out, and I couldn't even contain half of it. I couldn't get to half of it. It's constant. So these are the parameters that at least, stuck out to me a little bit more, and things that I was able to flesh out further today. So if you enjoy what we're doing here, join me at the same time. I'm going to like this here stream, because let's keep things going for the new year, you guys. Head into a new month of the Watch Party, even though we started halfway through last year. Still can't believe that part. But let's I'm gonna give you guys 2 more seconds. Just like the stream. Good. Share it sometimes. Let folks know we're doing this. These videos will be up also later. We do it every day at noon Eastern. So let's shift gears a little bit here. Not on the full topic of this war that Donald Trump is starting or his attack on this sovereign country with all of these fake excuses, but also, I mean, it's odd that it came from this source. But Fox News, this anchor, I mean, this reporter on Fox News pointed out, from the scenes behind him where Donald Trump hangs out a lot. He pointed out that this whole war thing was something that he said he wouldn't do. Maybe the audiences, they needed some kind of reminder.
But again, we did not hear from President Trump today. We have not heard from him since New Year's Eve. But it is notable, again, that the president was talking about wanting peace. And last year, Chanley, the U.S. struck 7 different countries around the world. That does not include the dozens of strikes in the Caribbean, Eastern Pacific against those alleged drug boats. And we've been seeing this buildup. And once these buildups happen, very rarely do they stand down. And we haven't seen any reports of U.S. military forces going home. We've seen a few flights return, but again, there's been this daily ramp up to this moment in time. But again, we did not.
There's not going to be any answers for him starting wars. And if there is an answer for it, what they're going to say is, we need to protect our hemisphere. We need to protect the homeland. So therefore, we go to someone else's homeland and go to attacking those folks, eliminating anyone that we deem as dictators, which Maduro was not a good guy. Who's not? Who else isn't a good guy? Our dictator, Donald Trump. Is someone going to come and kidnap him and take his ass out? I wonder how they would feel about that. If at the same time of them talking about how they're liberating the hemisphere because it's theirs, it's all theirs. If this happened in the United States of America, I wonder how they would feel if this was the scene off the coast.
They just blew up the the 4F. Ahí, graba ahí, 4F. Marico, no puedo creer esta mierda. Marico, me está jodiendo. Marico, tengo el corazón. Look. Dude. It's here. It is 2:05 in the morning.
An invading army, an imperialistic power coming to take over more resources, more lives, and more control over another country. That's who we are. It's who America has always been. Again, and they pointed out the Monroe Doctrine. Remember, the Donroe Doctrine now, about how they want control over other countries, and you other white folks that we respect enough to stay in your own hemisphere and do your own colonizing. We do it over here. And it's playing out right in front of us. It's things that we read about all the time, but it's never things that we see in front of us. So as we see it in front of us, I guess they expect us not to recognize it. But what is it that they're going to do next? Who's in place? Who's next up? This one particular woman, Maria Corina Machado, the woman who won the Nobel Peace Prize. She was very excited about this because, as we know, part of the reasons why she won was she was in opposition to Maduro and his control, power, destruction of the country, the suppression of people's rights, all that stuff. So she was excited.
And this is amazing, super exciting for me. We will open Venezuela for foreign investment. I am talking about a $1.7 trillion opportunity, not only in oil and gas, which is huge, and you know that the opportunities, because we will open all upstream, middle stream, downstream to all companies, but also in mining, in gold, in infrastructure, power. We have our grid right now has a 17 gigawatt opportunity of energy potential that needs to be rehabbed. Certainly for technology and AI and tourism. You know, Venezuela has 2,800 kilometers of pristine Caribbean coastline ready to be developed. So this is going to be huge. We will bring rule of law. We will open markets. We will have security for foreign investment and a transparent, massive privatization program that is waiting for you.
It's like an ad, but she's very excited. Again, Maria Corina Machado, who won the Nobel Peace Prize. She's excited to open Venezuela's resources to foreign investment in every way possible, all these different avenues. But of course, you know, their resources of oil there. And you notice that she sounds a lot like Trump in talking about these foreign investments and how they're going to open the rule of law and in open markets, all the bullshit that he talks about, because she's looking to be the next person that's installed to then carry out everything that Donald Trump wants. So do you think all of her ass kissing and kneeling down to Donald Trump did her any good? Do you think he looked up and said, you know what, this woman, I respect her. Let me make her my puppet. Here he is answering that question.
Where is the location of opposition leader Machado, and have you been in contact with her?
No, we haven't. No, we haven't.
Mr. President, do you have any hesitations about Machado? Mr. President, on Monday.
Oh, I think it would be very tough for her to be the leader. She doesn't have the support within or the respect within the country. She's a very nice woman, but she doesn't have the respect to be the leader.
Aware of the location.
I mean, he gave her the compliment of it. She's a very nice woman. But this woman, Machado, she has no respect for the people of her country. She only won the Nobel Peace Prize. She definitely doesn't have the respect of Donald Trump. Donald Trump used, you know, her and have her out here voicing all of these promises that she and her country are going to make to Donald Trump, because that's how she figures she's going to get some piece of the pie that this, you know, invading guy wants to just hand out in small doses and hoping that everyone will continue to do everything for him. Well, she played her part. You want to see the reasons why he didn't play his part? I mean, it's not like he hasn't done this to everybody who sells their soul to him. Trump sidelined this Venezuelan opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, as an interim replacement to Nicolas Maduro because she committed the, quote, ultimate sin of accepting the Nobel Peace Prize instead of demanding it be given to him. That's according to people, these White House insiders. We know he's been begging for the Nobel Peace Prize. We know that the Nobel Committee is like F you. And we also know that after this was handed over, she even gave him some conciliatory words after she won it. Here's more. The comments stunned members of Venezuela's opposition. I don't know why. And they had expected Washington to rally behind her. Citing two people close to the White House, the paper reported on Monday that Machado's efforts to praise Trump after winning that prize, an award long coveted by the president, failed to undo what one source described, as I mentioned there, that ultimate sin. Here's a quote from that source. If she had turned it down and said, I can't accept it because it's Donald Trump's, she'd be the president of Venezuela today. She didn't go far enough. You know, she only kissed his ass. She didn't do everything else that he wanted to do to his ass, the way that, you know, the way that Mike Johnson does to Donald Trump's anus, the way the rest of these MAGA folks do for Donald Trump's ass. She shorthanded it by one step, and that's enough to take her out of the king's favor. Do you guys think she learned her lesson? Let me show you how it happened. When the award was given by the Norwegian Nobel Committee in October, Machado she even dedicated the prize to Trump, which she'd received for her tireless work for promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela and for her struggle to achieve a just and peaceful transition from dictatorship to democracy. It's great, right? Except, when we call it democracy for other countries and we're controlling it, it's more dictatorship still. At the time, there was a push within MAGA to see the president given the prize for his for work done during his second term, which he's done nothing peaceful, as we're seeing right in front of us. Nominations were closed before he even regained the White House. That's not the reason why he didn't win it. He didn't win it because he's a warmonger. Venezuela's armed forces have since recognized Maduro's vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, as acting president. And that's going to open the door to what these officials describe as a soft transition. That's what they wanted. They wanted a soft transition where they can do whatever the hell they want. Nobody's going to push back all that much. And they're going to do everything that he tells them to do. So Delcy Rodriguez, she's been given the mantle. She's the acting president now. How long and how much authority do you think Delcy Rodriguez is going to have? I think he has already guessed it. But here's the answer straight from Donald Trump's stupid face.
Short term, next 2 weeks, what do you need from Delcy Rodriguez? You threatened
total access. We need total access. We need access to the oil and to other things in their country that allow us to rebuild their country.
What other things?
A lot of things. Roads that aren't built, bridges that are falling down. Yeah, bridges that are falling down, nobody can go anywhere.
And on Greenland, short term.
So as usual, as our policies internationally destroy other countries, maybe there's infrastructure issues there. There's power vacuums as we take out authoritarian leaders, anti-democratic folks, and then say we're going to run this place, and then complain about how certain aspects of it aren't up to par because of us. We use that as an excuse to say, look at these lesser human beings, which we've destroyed aspects of their country, and now let's go in and fix it and take control. It's the same playbook. It's why MAGA is MAGA. It's make these white supremacists' vision of the world what they thought was great before. And, all these brown folks keep getting out of line. So let's go and destroy more things and claim it's their fault. And then afterwards, we'll take it over. The last confirmation comes from Kristi Noem, who always looks like she's afraid as shit, staring at a screen, reciting the things that she was told to recite. So here's the confirmation from her, talking about what it is that they expect to do in this country and the way the leadership positioning will then be. I mean, because as we've heard, it's not Delcy Rodriguez and it's not Maria Corina Machado either. I wonder who it could be.
And we want a partner that understands that we're going to protect America. We're going to protect America and whatever it takes to stop the flow of drugs, to stop the terrorists from coming into our country. We need to work together. And we haven't had that in Venezuela. We've had it with many other countries, but not with Venezuela. So we're looking for a leader that will stand up beside us and embrace those freedoms and liberties for the Venezuelan people, but also ensure that they're not perpetuating crimes around the globe like they've had in the past.
How is the administration planning to do that, what you just laid out, to screen out the potential for a future leader to just continue on with the legacy of Maduro?
I think President Trump is done negotiating. He proved that a couple of days ago, that he is a man of action, that when someone is threatening the United States, he will defend it with every resource that we have, and he'll continue to do that. So his conversations now with the vice president in Venezuela are very matter of fact and very clear. You can lead or you can get out of the way, because we're not going to allow you to continue to subvert our American influence and our need to have a free country like Venezuela to work with.
Who's going to secure this country away from a dictatorial type that wants to do whatever he wants to take away people's rights and our freedoms as well? As long as it's America doing those things, we call those shots and say what's authoritarianism, what's anti-democratic, what's subverting the Constitution, as we see this guy literally do all of that. So it's none of these other folks who thought they were next in line to get some kind of power. What it is them taking over, tossing middle fingers and claiming this shit is ours. It's ours. Let me take it another step. I mean, maybe you guys, there's no reason to believe me. I'm just reading up and looking at all this stuff. I'm no kind of war historian, but I am looking at what's right in front of us. And I'm looking at, then somehow I was thinking the Sunday shows, once the Sunday shows come around, there's no way they're going to dispatch all these folks to come in and talk about all this stuff, because there's no way they're going to keep their story straight, because they're a bunch of fucking idiots. Hey, idiot number one, Marco Rubio, because, the other, the calling card for this administration, the requirement to be a spokesperson for this administration, to be in the cabinet at all, is to be boisterous, over the top, angry, and pushing back, and no matter how wrong you are.
States need to take over the Venezuelan oil industry.
Well, we don't need to. First of all, let me go back up. We don't need Venezuela's oil. We have plenty of oil in the United States. What we're not going to allow is for the oil industry in Venezuela to be controlled by adversaries of the United States. You have to understand, why does China need their oil? Why does Russia need their oil? Why does Iran need their oil? They're not even in this continent. This is the Western Hemisphere. This is where we live. And we're not going to allow the Western Hemisphere to be a base of operation for adversaries, competitors, and rivals of the United States.
Have specific oil
We
companies.
also want to see that oil and the proceeds from it. Hold on. We want to see the oil proceeds of that country benefit the people of Venezuela. Why have 8 million people left Venezuela? 8 million, the single largest mass migration probably in modern history, left Venezuela since 2014, because all the wealth of that country was stolen to the benefit of Maduro and his cronies in the regime, but not to the benefit of people of Venezuela. You know how destabilizing 8 million migrants is? The number one fear that Brazil has, that Colombia has, that all these countries in the region have about what's happening in Venezuela and our involvement, is they're afraid of another mass migration event. That's what they fear. This is deeply destabilizing stuff. It's not going to continue to happen. They are not going to come from outside of our hemisphere, destabilize our region in our own backyard, and us have to pay the price for it. Not under President Trump.
Let's talk big.
Little bitch Marco Rubio. He's now talking about, not under this powerful president who tells me what to do every day. Before, he had all kinds of tough talk for Donald Trump, accurate tough talk for Donald Trump. Now he's his little lackey. He's his little puppet who's angry enough to talk about, we don't even need their oil. We're just going to take it because it's fun. So they're going to take their oil because they need control over our hemisphere. What kind of supremacist shit is that? Over our hemisphere, we control every country within our hemisphere because we told them to. And we're not going to have these disruptive tactics coming from these other countries that destroy our hemisphere. We're in charge of destroying our hemisphere and these disruptive tactics. We're in charge of taking people's rights. He even mentioned how the people of the country, how their wealth has been stolen. What happened all of 2025? How much of America's wealth was stolen and given to these oligarchs? How much of our money was promised to foreign, what they called investments, up to 17, 25, $85 trillion this guy keeps talking about, of things that he invested in America as he's kissing Saudi Arabia's ass, as he's kissing Vladimir Putin's ass. It's weird how he's stealing from us, but they continue to put the blame on other folks and claim that they're the lesser human beings. It's somehow in their genes to be lesser. As we sit and watch them talk about how all they've got is bloodthirst, attacks, and yes, this won't be surprising, threats from more countries in this hemisphere that apparently Marco Rubio and Donald Trump own.
For our country. Now, we have a very sick neighbor. It's not a neighbor, but it's close to a neighbor. And that's Venezuela. It's very sick. Colombia is very sick, too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States. And he's not going to be doing it very long, let me tell you.
What does that mean? He's not going to be doing it very long.
He's not doing it very long. He has cocaine mills and cocaine factories. He's not going to be doing it very long.
So there will be an operation by the U.S. and
it sounds Colombia? Good to me. Yeah.
Rubio mentioned
for our country.
Colombia's up next. Sounds good to me. Because he's got cocaine mills. He's producing it and selling it to Donald Trump Jr. I mean, to the United States of America and all of our children, specifically Donald Trump's children. And apparently to Marco Rubio. Remember that moment that we were talked about before? Maybe they want control over all the narco terrorists so they can funnel only all of their product only to the folks who are in this administration, who are the children of the folks in its administration. We've got Venezuela that's already been attacked. Up next, apparently, is Colombia. And this is the mindset that he's got as he wants to continue to attack all of these countries. I'm playing this so we can maybe start paying attention to all those things that were wildly predicted by all of these crazy folks with TDS.
But we can't take a chance after having done this incredible thing last night of letting somebody else take over, where we have to do it again. We can do it again, too. Nobody can stop us. There's nobody that has the capability that we have. You know, when I watch that war in Russia going on and on and on and everybody dying, and it's like, it's primitive. It's primitive. It's horrible. It's really horrible.
Could you tell us, Mr. President?
But we can't.
They can't stop us. He watched the war in Russia continue to go on, the one that he was supposed to stop in 24 hours. Isn't it weird how he keeps distancing himself from these failures, all these empty promises that he had absolutely no intention of stopping in the first place? His whole idea was, he's my buddy. But no one can stop us. We can do anything we want. I'm still I would love for the folks who keep defending this guy and claiming that he's not a dictatorial authoritarian type to tell me how saying we can do anything we want doesn't equal a dictatorial authoritarian type. Like they just move on and say, because it's in the United States interests. Hey, let's keep a tally. Venezuela, Colombia, we can do whatever the fuck we want. Who's next? Who's next in the region? Who's next in the region?
You know, one of the things that is happening, I think you see it all the time. Howard, you've seen it. That Cuba is ready to fall. You know, yes. Cuba looks like it's ready to fall. I don't know if they're going to hold out. But Cuba now has no income. They got all of their income from Venezuela, from the Venezuelan oil. They're not getting any of it. And Cuba literally is ready to fall. And you have a lot of great Cuban Americans that are going to be very happy about this.
Now Cuba is ready to fall. But did you hear why Cuba in Donald Trump's mind is ready to fall? Because they depended on Venezuela and some economic resources there. And as we've destabilized Venezuela and decided to take over and do whatever the hell we want, that destabilizes Cuba. It's weird. They can fall now that Donald Trump put forward the process to force them to fall, and then he can claim he's going to save another country from its anti-democratic leadership. You move on to the next and the next and the next. Here's one of those puppets. If you listen really closely, you'll hear the sound. It's a popping sound and a little bit of a grimace as Donald Trump's hand slides up Lindsey Graham's ass and gets to control him to say things like this.
Could have done it. And as to this commander-in-chief, he did something people talked about doing. You just wait for Cuba. Cuba is a communist dictatorship that's killed priests and nuns. They've preyed on their own people. Their days are numbered. We're going to wake up one day, I hope in 26, in our backyard, we're going to have allies in these countries doing business with America, not narco-terrorist dictators killing Americans. This is a big frigging day. And everybody in the world is thinking differently than they were just a few days ago because of what you did. Could have done it.
Everyone is thinking differently than they did a few days ago because of what Donald Trump did. I mean, that's a true statement. Everyone is realizing, I guess, the last 5 people left that didn't realize it. This guy is a danger to the entire world. I mean, starting with our hemisphere, because it's Cuba, it's Venezuela, it's Colombia. And the way that we're going to have these great dealings in our backyard is to continue to give all resources to these companies that have paid this the whore as little as possible to get him to do everything they want for more profits, because they've run out of resources to steal from us. They've got to expand further to steal resources from other folks as well. It's not hidden. It's not hidden at all. They don't even have to be going on TV anymore to somehow come up with an excuse. It's directly and friendly in our face. Lindsey Graham just said it. Tom Cotton likes to say it too. Isn't it weird? Like he's not hiding it. Listen for the way he likes to try and describe this.
The president did not rule out the possibility of sending the U.S. military back in. Would you be comfortable with that?
Well, the U.S. military has already been in, as Nicolas Maduro learned the hard way. But I think Americans now, after 5 years of Donald Trump's presidency, realize that there are certain signature features of how he uses our military. Take 4 examples: the raid that killed the ISIS leader in Syria, the drone strikes that killed Iran's terror mastermind in Iraq, the bombing of Iran's nuclear facility, now this raid.
Those are one and done, and they didn't.
But
they didn't
those
involve regime change.
But
Forgive
think about it.
forgive
All
me.
4
I
of
just
those
want to
operations
just clarify.
were bold, decisive, audacious, and direct.
And so
they achieved vital U.S. national interests.
Yeah, and so was what happened in Venezuela. No question about it. The military was extraordinary there. Question is about what's next. Will you feel comfortable if the military goes in to protect the oil fields, for example?
Well, I think that Delcy Rodriguez and the other ministers in Venezuela understand now what the U.S. military is capable of, and as President Trump and Secretary Rubio indicated yesterday, if they don't want to follow in Maduro's footsteps, they need to start meeting our demands. And it's always an option for our military to protect American citizens, of which we have many in Venezuela, and American interest around the world.
And the interest is Venezuelan oil fields in this case?
We have many U.S. citizens and many American interests.
She gave him a couple opportunities to go ahead and say what he said, but had this thin layer of a mask over it. So our interest, U.S. interest, anytime it's U.S. interest, it has to do with taking something from someone else and then claiming that it's going to the United States of America, when it's fully going to these oligarchs and these rich folks who continue to consume the rest of the world. They're like leeches. They're like a virus that consumes everything in front of them, and then they don't produce anything from it except for shit. And then afterwards, they claim that it's everyone else's fault. It's a system. But these are vital U.S. interests that he's also willing to send sons and daughters on the ground to go and protect. Because them running the country is something that I'm pretty positive they haven't fully thought out how they're going to do it outside of killing more people. That's kind of the process I think they're going about here. But Tom Cotton's soft ass keeps talking about how we're doing these operations to protect the homeland. And if you don't want to be another Maduro, he said it so openly. Listen to our demands. Imagine any country saying to the United States, listen to our demands. You notice he's not telling China, listen to our demands or we're going to go and attack. He's not telling Russia, listen to our demands or we're going to go and attack. I feel like you know why he's not saying that to those countries. But as long as they can bully other folks around and then install someone else as some kind of a puppet leadership group, they think they've got control over this whole thing. So again, wait a second. Let me go through the list. Venezuela, Colombia, Cuba. He probably listed a few more that I've missed. Like I said, there's tons of information coming out, but this one definitely stuck out. And it's a bit of a throwback to right around the inauguration.
On Greenland, we're Greenland now? Yeah.
How did we come up to Greenland?
So, do you expect to take an action against Greenland?
Well, I don't want to talk about Greenland. Let's talk about Venezuela, Russia, Ukraine, and we'll worry about Greenland in about 2 months. Let's talk about Greenland in 20 days.
On Venezuela, we talked so much about energy.
By the way, I will say this about Greenland. We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you. You know what Denmark did recently to boost up security in Greenland? They added one more dog sled. It's true. They thought that was a great move.
What would the justification be for a claim to Greenland? What would the justification?
Oh, I don't want to talk about Greenland now. I just say this. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And the European Union needs us to have it. And they know that.
I think there's some.
They think they own the world. We need to have it for our sake. Talking shit. There's a couple of ass kissers standing next to him, guffawing at all of these bad jokes about how, they're bloodthirsty and they're warmongers. We need Greenland next. They're adding just a dog sled. Those sorry sons of bitches. Don't they suck? Look at these pompous pieces of shit. It's how they approach. This is their outlook on their world. This is their worldview. It's we do whatever we want and talk trash about everyone else as we destroy things. I saw this at the last second. This is a statement from the Prime Minister of Denmark, obviously with Greenland. He says, I must say this very clearly to the U.S. It makes absolutely no sense to speak of any necessity for the United States to take over Greenland. The U.S. has no legal basis to annex one of the 3 countries of the Kingdom of Denmark. The Kingdom of Denmark, and thus Greenland, is a member of NATO and is therefore covered by the alliance's collective security guarantee. We already have a defense agreement between the Kingdom of Denmark and the United States that grants the U.S. broad access to Greenland. In addition, the kingdom has made significant investments in security in the Arctic. I therefore strongly urge the U.S. to cease its threats against a historically close ally and against another country and another people who have stated very clearly that they are not for sale. She speaks powerfully and directly about it. I guess up next is Greenland and therefore NATO. And we know how Donald Trump feels about NATO. Welcome to 2026, everyone. I've got a few minutes left before I jump over to TDR. There's 2 other big aspects of the whole thing of Venezuela that I'm not even talking about today. I was going through it all, but I'm not even going to talk about it today. It's way too much. I'm sure many folks have already seen it, but it kind of gets we kind of get the point, I think. Nothing they're doing is on the up and up. Nothing they're doing is legal. Nothing they're doing is based in any democracy. Everything that they're doing is worldwide control. There's reasons why Donald Trump loves him some Vladimir Putin and expects his invasion of Ukraine to be something that he looks up to and aspires to do himself. And he's like, well, you know, to the victor go the spoils. If you invade a country and start taking over land, that's yours. Okay. But let me not forget one of the biggest things that they want us to forget. This is what they want us to forget.
Did you travel to Mar-a-Lago?
Yes, I did.
And how did you arrive at Mar-a-Lago? How did you end up going to Mar-a-Lago? Did he send you there? Were you told to go there? How did that happen?
There were a lot of model parties at the Mar-a-Lago. Different people would set them up, different magazines, and a limo would come and you'd jump in the limo and you'd go.
And Jeffrey Epstein or someone who worked for him would tell you to go there?
No, it was just a place where something was held, a party was held, and people would go to different events.
This is about so much more than one person, Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell or Donald Trump. But because Donald Trump is a person who, of course, owns Mar-a-Lago, I just have to ask if you think he was aware of that arrangement.
I don't know if he was aware. Actually, I can't answer that. I'm sorry.
And you were in your teens.
Epstein survivor there on MS Now. Talk about how she was sent by Epstein over to Mar-a-Lago. That's weird. Victims of Jeffrey Epstein were sent to Mar-a-Lago, like property or something. Almost like this weird term we call traffic, where they send human beings to then I guess work. Here's other information. Don't forget, she talked about being sent to Mar-a-Lago. Here's a Wall Street Journal article from the end of last week that no one's talking about. Well, maybe some people are. Jeffrey Epstein wasn't just a frequent visitor to Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago club in the 90s and 2000s. The club was also sending spa employees. So the club Mar-a-Lago was sending spa employees, usually young women, to Epstein's nearby mansion for massages, manicures, and other spa services. That's according to former Mar-a-Lago and Epstein employees. This is like an exchange or something here. The house calls went on for years, even as spa employees warned each other about Epstein, who was known among staff for being sexually suggestive and exposing himself during these appointments. The spa occasionally provided house calls for members. Epstein, this is a big part, was not a dues-paying member of the club, but Trump told his staff to treat him like one. Epstein had an account at the spa where his companion, Ghislaine Maxwell, who's in prison, now in a prison camp, booked appointments on his behalf. So the president of the United States, who's covering up the Epstein files and more release of more things and has redacted everything where his name is connected to it, apparently had this exchange plan with young women and probably girls between Mar-a-Lago and Epstein's estates. Here's more. These allegations came 3 years after Maxwell recruited another employee, Virginia Gouffre, who said she was 16 when she left the spa to work for Epstein. And of course, she died by suicide earlier last year in 2025. The Wall Street Journal identified 4 other Mar-a-Lago employees who were listed in Epstein's address book, which was obtained by the FBI in 2009. It's weird. It's like he didn't point out all that. They didn't reveal to us this whole like buddy partnership between Epstein's estates and Mar-a-Lago, exchanging young girls back and forth for massages that we know what Epstein was up to with massages. But this guy wanted to keep talking about how he hated him some Jeffrey Epstein. I didn't like the guy, not much of a fan of his at all. But I love flashbacks because I feel like we forget what is it this guy's been saying and what we already know about him as we get this latest story about these exchanges of girls. Remember this?
Mr. President, Epstein has a certain reputation, obviously. Just curious, were some of the workers that were taken from you, were some of them young women?
Were some of them
young women?
Well, I don't want to say, but everyone knows the people that were taken. And it was the concept of taking people that work for me is bad. But that story's been pretty well out there. And the answer is yes, they were.
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
What did they do?
In the spa.
In the spa?
Yeah, people that work in the spa. I have a great spa, one of the best spas in the world at Mar-a-Lago. And people were taken out of the spa, hired by him. In other words, gone. And other people would come and complain, this guy is taking people from the spa. I didn't know that. And then when I heard about it, I told him, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. I don't want him taking people. And he was fine. And then not too long after that, he did it again. And I said, out of here.
Mr. President, did one of those stolen, persons, that include Virginia Giuffre?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah. He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know. None whatsoever.
He stole Virginia, according to Donald Trump, because apparently Donald Trump figured that he owned her. Let's not forget the things that this guy has already admitted to as we see more of those pieces come together. I just want to make sure we don't forget what he's been saying, what we've heard, the information that comes out in some of these documents that all connect how closely related these guys were in the way that they handled what they considered business. Here's more from that Wall Street Journal article. Trump and Epstein continue to cross paths after the spa banned Epstein and Maxwell in 2003, which Donald Trump always claims is the reasons why he had nothing to do with him, because, Epstein started trafficking young girls in 2003, right? They were in fierce competition for a Palm Beach property up for grabs in bankruptcy in late 2004. And Epstein's message book showed 2 calls from Trump the month of that auction. That was another lie about the reasons why they broke up and never had a friendship anymore. Who knows? They just keep saying reasons, and you're supposed to grab onto one of them and accept it. In 2008, Epstein reached a controversial deal with federal prosecutors in which he pleaded guilty to a solicitation of prostitution and procuring a minor to engage in prostitution. And then he was arrested a second time on the sex trafficking charges in 2019, and that's eventually what led to his demise. But this whole thing from 2008, remember in 2008, when he got that sweetheart deal down in Florida, and the guy that ended up being, I believe, Trump's secretary, the Department of Labor secretary, he was down there in Florida, and he had something to do with whether or not Epstein, faced the consequences that he should have faced, and he didn't.
Well, I knew him like everybody in Palm Beach knew him. I mean, people in Palm Beach knew him. He was a fixture in Palm Beach. I had a falling out with him a long time ago. I don't think I've spoken to him for 15 years. I wasn't a fan. I was not, a long time ago. I'd say maybe 15 years. I was not a fan of his. That I can tell you. I was not a fan of his. So I feel very badly, actually, for Secretary Acosta, because I've known him as being somebody that works so hard and has done such a good job. I feel very badly about that whole situation.
Secretary Acosta, he's the one who did it, but Donald Trump felt bad for him because everyone knew Epstein, but didn't really work with him all that much. There's more. I'm gonna come back after I finish with TDR. I'm gonna finish this up because there's more connections between the Acosta situation, Donald Trump, the Epstein files, what they're covering up, and new ways that they tried to redact more information. There's so much more happening. I'm gonna come back and do the back end of this. So if you guys fell off at the edge of this story, I got a few more moments to go about it. We'll do that at what is it? Another hour and a half from now. Let me run over to TDR and holler at John for a little bit as we come into the new year. Glad you guys are here. Please come back. We'll do a quick live to finish this story up. I had way too much to get to today, and I skipped other things as well. So happy new year again, everyone. I'll see you guys in a couple seconds over on the damage report. Then right back here for a little bit more.